Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Generation Z podcast. This is episode 47. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about how you can improve your people skills and your ability to network with anybody.
So if you enjoyed today's podcast, or if you're just new around here, then please do subscribe or follow us on whatever platform you're listening on. We do also have a YouTube channel as well if you prefer to watch the podcast, and we do actually have an Instagram page as well. And both of me and Sam's Instagrams will also be in the description as well.
So in this podcast, we're going to be covering people skills. So specifically, we're just going to be looking at how you can improve your verbal, arguably most importantly, your sub-communication with anyone that you meet or people that you're friends with at the moment, in order to develop deeper friendships or relationships even much quicker. Because we've said this so often in our conversations that we have, is like social anxiety is definitely a huge thing in our age group specifically.
Massive,
There's so much pressure through like social media and stuff, and it's made it very difficult for us to now just approach people in real life.
It's a bit of a weird one. I think it's because like everybody speaks online, maybe, but people aren't even just used to speaking to people in person.
Yeah, and they also project that persona. They also project that persona on the Instagram, that they're that person. Or, for example, if there's someone like who's got a lot of followers on Instagram, there's some reason people have that kind of viewpoint that, oh, I can't go up and approach them, or like, you know what I mean? It's a bit backwards, but like I think social media has definitely like damaged our ability to do this. So I think this podcast would be really good for people that have kind of definitely have social anxiety at the moment, and they're just like, right, I want to put a stop to this. I want to be social. I want to be extroverted. I want to get out there. I want to meet people, because ultimately that's our primeval instinct, isn't it? It's like you want to be social. You want to go out and 100%. You want to meet new people. So, and
you can't do stuff on your own anyway.
Exactly. Like, exactly. You want to have friends. You want to have like people that you can go out with and stuff, and you can't let that like social anxiety like basically anchor you down for the rest of your life. So you got to kind of start somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say we've come pretty far in this.
Oh, mate, 100%. Like from a year ago, like I would definitely say personally that I had suffered like from social anxiety.
Massive, yeah.
And just growing up, just obviously like not really being confident in myself, like even from like secondary school to about, I would say, like start of last year, maybe like start of 2020, that's when I started gaining my confidence, and like I started being able to like approach people, and that's what it is all about. It is self-confidence.
And it's mad that like we've literally just done it through consuming content, like either just reading books or listening to people, and it's literally available to anyone. Like obviously you could go to therapy or something like that, but that's extremely time consuming and obviously like expensive. Like we're not saying you have to do that. Like you can literally just learn this stuff through books and stuff, which is literally what we've done.
Yeah, and also through us, like the podcast.
That's true. Actually,
is like I was saying to a mate, we were talking about the podcast like earlier, and I was basically saying that like it's done wonders for me in that sort of aspect, because like
definitely.
I could have a conversation I could approach literally absolutely anyone and have a decent conversation with them, because I've been doing that with you for the past year. So it's just like you get that experience and like you just get more confident in it.
Exactly, mate. So we'll jump in with the first one then. So kind of people skills. So something really important here is like 95% of communication is sub-communication. So like body language. So like body language, voice tonality, eye contact, and all that kind of stuff. So it's not actually what you say, it's how you say it. But
100%.
People don't realize like how important body language is. And I've actually read a book. What's it called? I'm pretty sure it's called What Everybody Is Saying, and that runs through body language, and it's super interesting because once you read that and then you start listening to people, you realize like their actions don't actually match up with what they're kind of saying and stuff. It's very interesting. You realize like,
your body tells the body tells the truth.
Yeah,
doesn't
I was
it?
literally about to say that.
Essentially, like if, for example, if someone's speaking or like speaking confidently, but their body language is poor, like their shoulders are rounded, they're not giving you a lot of eye contact, they are like their voice tonality is like very low and it's very shy, it's like very non-confident, but then they say that they're confident. Like it's a very true teller of someone's self-confidence by the way that they communicate with people, I think.
Yeah, 100%. So something that I was watching some Tony Robbins the other day as well, and it's basically saying like you can actually, I can't remember, change your physiology, I think it is, like your like whatever's inside of you just by changing your body language kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
100%.
if you like stand up straight and you speak loud or something, like it actually makes you more confident, if that makes sense in the situation. Strange.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like yeah, because I swear, yeah, like rounded shoulders or the position of your shoulders kind of is a very true sign of confidence, because apparently in terms of physiology, it's like you're opening out your chest.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's like it shows that you're like kind of proud, like in that formal way. Or if you've got your shoulders rounded, it's like you're trying to protect yourself like from the stuff that's like in terms of like what was happening in the past, like as like we evolved, like right back then, like you'd round your shoulders to kind of protect like the key parts of your body at the front. So like that's kind of what it sort of got to now.
Yeah, and another thing as well that he was saying is there was a study where they had people put their hands on their hips, so you know, kind of how like a policeman stands or something.
Yeah,
kind of like that,
like a proud position, like a Superman position, essentially.
So they did that, and then they started breathing deeply as well, and it started boosting their testosterone after 2 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. So strange.
That is literally changing your physiology just by changing your body language. That's crazy. And I also think that a lot of people now struggle, like and this is probably the most important sub-communication, I believe, is eye contact during a conversation. You think about a time when someone's like just spoken to you and they've like been able to hold consistent eye contact while you're talking, like it shows not only that they're interested, they're actively listening in what you have to say, but it also kind of creates a situation where it makes it's like a one-on-one in the like abyss of what's going around you.
I know what I mean.
You know what I mean? It's like whatever's going to, so say for example, if you're at the gym,
basically.
If you're at the gym and like you start talking to someone and like you're having a conversation, you like have pretty good eye contact throughout the whole conversation, you kind of leave the conversation and like you kind of go back into reality in that sort of kind of context, you know what I mean? Like because like then you go back into the external, but I think that's what makes it really like powerful for the other person. Like when someone feels like they're heard, they're like, I want to be that person. I want to be that person. I want to be friends with that person because he understands me. He cares what I have to say, type thing.
And eye contact's actually a weird one, because I remember reading something about how you should be like keeping eye contact, or like making a mental note when you go into conversations if you lose eye contact. I realized when I first started doing it, like whenever you start speaking to somebody, I'd constantly like look around or look away or something. And it actually takes practice just to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Sounds stupid, but it actually does.
It's experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like next time you go into a conversation, whenever the person's talking, just
try
and hold subtle eye contact. Don't beam and look into their soul. But that's not what we're saying. We're just saying you just gotta look at their eye direction and just like let them know that you're actually focused on what they're saying.
I was gonna say the first couple of times you do it, it's almost like painful. It's so weird and uncomfortable. I don't know if you found the same.
Yeah, 100%. Like obviously, and through repetition, as you keep doing that over and over again, you probably can do it with ease now. It obviously takes time, but it will come around. But also, you talked about Tony Robbins. He does a lot about just changing a person's like motion to create emotion. That's what he's kind of talks about. Because motion creates emotion. But in a book that I read from him, he done this. He basically shared this body language technique called mirroring. So basically, when you're in a conversation with someone, you would try to subtly kind of copy, like obviously they do like their body language or whatever, and then you kind of make a mental note of like what they're doing. Like, so say for example, if they cross their arms, you do the same like after like 10 seconds, just to kind of mirror them and just and maybe talk at a similar pace, like tone, and just position yourselves like they're in a mirror essentially, and they're basically and then apparently subconsciously he says that other person's going to think that you're extremely similar to them, because they basically just see you themselves. Because as we talked about, communication is 95% of communication is sub-communication. So they're going to think, right, I know this guy pretty well because he looks similar to me. He talks the similar way I do. He speaks a similar way. He dresses, or he has the same like body language. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never actually personally tried that, to be fair, but I might try it.
Yeah, no, I'd say like perhaps like just do it in, because he did the example where he did it in public. He basically he was in a park and he was on a bench, and there was a person on the opposite side of the bench, and he basically just looked over, and then he just started doing this mirroring technique, and then at the end the guy actually came over and approached him and like opened conversation with Tony. So it's like,
there we go.
It's kind of a little cheat code that you can use if like you want to just like break the ice essentially.
Yeah, definitely. And then another important thing is, it's kind of similar to before, just kind of like building rapport with people. So obviously mirroring is one way to build rapport, but another thing is just actually being interested in what people have to say. And I've just thought of a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think that's when I first heard of this.
That was the first book that I kind of bought.
Really. Yeah. It's one of those like classic self-development book kind of things.
It's a good one though.
Yeah, it is. Definitely recommend it. But something it says in there is like, the most common word people use in the conversation is I. Like, people love speaking about themselves. So every time somebody says something,
and you realize that when you actually consciously listen out for it. Yeah, that's what I've found.
So let's say the other person in the conversation says, oh, I'm playing football on the weekend. Straight away, your first response will normally be like, oh, I played football last weekend, or oh, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to go see a football game. Like, you relate everything to yourself. And if people listen to that, or if you just show genuine interest in them, people love speaking about themselves.
100%. So like in that form of logic, if you know that one way to build rapport is to basically understand that people like to talk about themselves in a conversation, like the easiest thing that you could possibly do to build rapport with somebody is just ask questions about them.
Yeah,
that is so simple. But that's not like a gimmicky like, oh, I'm going to use this as a technique to be friends with you.
Yeah,
you have to show, like, those questions show genuine interest to get to know the person. Like, you want to get to know the person. Like, you don't want to fake it. You don't want to just ask questions for the sake of asking questions. Like, and also in terms of conversation and reducing your social anxiety, that would mean that because they're talking about themselves a lot, that focus of the conversation is constantly on them.
Yeah.
And in that dynamic, that basically means that there's less focus on you, and you don't really have to speak as much in the conversation. And then like you're building a deeper like kind of relationship or friendship with them, but you're not putting as much effort in. So it's kind of like a good way in that context.
Yeah, that's actually something from Jordan Peterson. That wasn't a book I read. It was just something on YouTube that I found. But he was basically saying like for people who have social anxiety, what it is whenever they go into a conversation, like let's say you walk into a house party or something, all you think is all eyes on me. What's everybody thinking? And that's what social anxiety is. So if you go in and be like, right, what's everybody else doing? What's this guy interested in? Ask them questions. You take all the interest off yourself and into them, and then you just stop really caring as much.
And also, like that I've actually kind of had that. I'd say there was a time during like the second year of I think it was the first semester of the second year of uni where I was just getting into my head too much, like in class, like, like, I don't know why, but like you'd think what you're going to say before you say it. Yeah. And then you put pressure on yourself to like say it right. It gets really odd. Like you get so much in your head, and then like if you don't say the right thing, like, or if you don't feel like you said the right thing, then you get flustered, and then it gets worse and worse and worse. Yeah. So it's like, as we said, it's just taking the attention away from you and just not talking about yourself as much, and just not being so much in your head and just going with the flow.
Yeah, exactly, mate. So that's the whole kind of people skills, communication type thing. But then we're also going to run through just networking as well. If you want to kick off with the networking, mate.
So I would definitely say that the worst or hardest part of networking or just meeting anyone is approaching and just starting the conversation, just getting yourself psyched up to be like, right, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to start the conversation. Because like, I swear nobody can do that now. Like, it's so difficult for people to do that now. And then when people do it, you're like, oh my God, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? Yeah. But when you think about it, it's like,
say hi to someone.
I mean, it's just starting a conversation. Like, it's another human. Like, he's completely the same as you. Like, he's, well, not the same as you, but like, he's still human. He's not like some god that you need to like praise. It's just another human being. So starting a conversation is definitely hardest, but I'd say that the golden rule when you go into a conversation is just to not have any sort of expectations at all.
Definitely. Yeah, because when you if you go with the idea of, I'm speaking to this person for this, and they don't give you that, you automatically see them as like a bad person, when actually like you can't go into a conversation asking for something.
Exactly. Yeah. Because like, if you have a preconceived kind of expectation for the conversation, so say, for example, like a guy who, if there's a guy listening to this, you want to approach a girl on a night out. Like, if your expectations before, like, you find them attractive, you're just like, I'm going to go speak to them. But obviously you don't want to speak to them just to be mates, because you're on a night out, you're tipsy, you want to get drunk, you want to have fun. So your expectations for the start of the conversation is like, right, if I approach this girl, it's going to lead to sex. We're going to go back to mine, or I'm going to go back to hers. Like, it's a done deal type sort of thing. But then when you end up the night alone and you don't get what you've expected, you're going to be like, oh, you have no confidence. You have no people skills, and your social anxiety is going to skyrocket. You're going to see yourself in a negative light, and ultimately it's just so like destructive for you just personally.
Yeah, that's awful to do. Another thing on that is just remember going into the conversation that you're seeing if she's right for you. You're not trying to hit her up. King.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, king. Chin up, king. Put that crown back on. There's an abundance of girls, mindset, mate. Abundance mindset.
Exactly, mate. But another thing is just, well, I personally find as well is it sounds a bit harsh, but don't do generic like, hi, how are you? Yeah, good. Mm-hmm. How are you? Yeah, good. Mm-hmm. It's like, let's be honest, nobody wants to speak about that shit.
That is so boring.
Yeah.
It takes about 10 minutes and you get nowhere. Because after that, like, hi. And then because you've said nothing interesting to the person, they're going to be, oh, that's nice meeting you. Bye. And it's just like, right, okay, fair enough. Like, I know the person's name and I know how old they are. Like,
especially if it's somebody who has like a lot of people to speak to, like, you got to stand out. You got to just say something interesting or bring up something that you've even done that they find interesting, something like that.
100%. And also, what I would tend to do now is just make like an observation or like an association. So, say for example, going away from females, if you're like, say, at like a big networking event, like a business event, and someone is wearing a suit, for example, you could approach them and just go like off the cuff and just be like, oh, so what's the so are you the CEO of just a random company? And they'll be like, oh, no, I'm not. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, so what do you do? And then you'll get into it, and you've kind of cut out all that. Oh, you're right. What's your name? Where you from? All that stuff, and you've got to what you want, like straight away. Like, and for example, if you go back to like females talking to the other girl, like you could say like, I don't know, just like you must. If she's like wearing all of the same colors, like, is something your favorite color? And they'll just be like, yeah, it's all right. And then you like, and then you talk about something else, and then it just leads on. It's not like. It's more natural, I think, just to make that sort of like observation association.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Did you read that in a book or something?
Not really.
No,
not really. It's just like on videos, just like YouTube videos. Like,
fair.
Yeah,
I definitely agree though. And one last thing I've thought of as well is like, again, going back to more general networking or say like a business event or something like that, it's just, if you don't ask, you don't get. And some of the stuff, either through like podcast stuff or just other general life things, have always come about because I've just thought there's no harm in asking.
Exactly.
And most of the time, especially if it's someone higher up than you or someone more successful, if you ask them, they're more than likely gonna do it because somebody else has helped them as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you would probably do the same if someone asked you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's just common like decency. It's just being a nice person.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm pretty sure that's everything, mate, unless you got anything else to add.
No, I think there's quite a lot of information in there about how you can improve your people skills, because ultimately, like, I'd say that's probably one of the most important skills that you can have in life. Is 100%. Your just ability to build rapport with someone very quickly, whether in any context, whether like business, going out, talking to mates, talking to other people, like mates of mates, like, you know what I mean? It's just like definitely. It definitely is so important.
Yeah, sweet. So yeah, hopefully that was useful. And as I said before, if you did enjoy today's podcast, or if you're just new around here, then please do subscribe or follow us on whatever platform you're listening on. We'll have more podcasts coming out soon. But apart from that, I hope you enjoyed, and we'll speak to you soon.
Peace.